And I want you to give them a big hand. Come on, Pastor Danny and Sony, come on up here. Yeah.
Look at the guy. Yeah. Can you hear me just fine? Because I have a very low voice, so, because I'm shy. No, it is a honor to be here and be able to serve here in West Sac. I love you guys too. Someone said it over there. I just can't see you.
One person loves us.
But this is my second time here at Horizon, and I remember on my way leaving back in 2006 or 2007, Pastor Coco said, hey, when you're ready to get back into ministry, you let me know. I know of a lot of people that can use a man with your skill set. And I said, I don't think you understand. I didn't come here to go somewhere else. I didn't move my family from New York to Sacramento to go somewhere else. I came here to West Sac. So when you're ready to have me back, I'll be ready. And God orchestrated it. I prayed about it. I was a trucker for 7 years. And just real quick before I let my wife come up, she's going to share with you guys first before I come back. But I was in South Carolina. I was heading to Florida to take some time off. I'm scared of heights. But in Florida, they have this big wheel thing on top of a building. And I'm like, I got to do that. Some people like jumping out of a plane. I just like riding a ride in the sky. So, but I prayed this prayer. Lord, when is it time for me to go home? And I didn't mean home to my wife and children. I meant home. And the very next morning, I got a call from a supervisor. And he said, I know you're on your way to Florida, but can I turn you around to Tracy for a month? And you could just deliver a load back and forth, Monday to Saturday, for a whole month. And I'll make up the time for you not going to Florida. I said, no, we good. Send me home. Just tell me where to drop this and point me to Cali. So that was God's answer, to come home, to be here with you guys and to serve with you guys. I would say about 2 weeks ago, we actually got to go to Yuba City because the founder of Metro Ministries was in Yuba City. And I sat behind him, and he remembered us. And I just reached over to him. When he was done preaching, he sat down, and I just, reached up over behind him and just in his ear just said, thank you. Thank you for showing up when you did. Thank you for not giving up when people said you couldn't do what could be done and what has grown worldwide now. In your bulletin, I wanted to touch on forgiveness today. I have been wanting to talk about forgiveness for a long time. It's something I struggled with as a child. I lived in two homes. I grew up in two homes. In a foster home from the age of 2.5 to about 8. And then in the biological home from that point on. When all you know is what you know as a child, that's mom and that's dad. There's this thing that, here's what happened. Every other weekend, I remember me and my brother, we would have to get up really early on a Saturday and drive, for seemed like ever, to a tall white building and wait for 2 people to show up. And those 2 people will take us out for pizza and ginger ale. And now most of you guys heard my testimony. But for those that didn't, they took us out for pizza and ginger ale. And we love pizza, and still to this day, I love ginger ale. But I remember one day, Dad was dressing us, and he was in tears. And like tie, dress shirt. And he said, "Sons, I've always told you to tell the truth, and that's all I want you to do today." Okay, Dad, just tell the truth. There's going to be a man that's going to ask a question, and I just want you to tell him the truth. Okay, Daddy. And we drive to this courthouse. We're about 7 years old. And we're in this room, and we could see the people that always took us for pizza and ginger ale in the room, on the opposite side of the room. And I'm like, "David, I guess we're going for some pizza and ginger ale after this. Look." So this man with the robe took us to his office. This is how I saw it as a child. I know the terms. It was a judge in the chamber. But I'm going to tell you like I saw it as a child. He took us to an office, and he explained. First he said, do you know why you're here today? And, "Pizza and ginger ale?" No. He said, "No, see, I have a problem. I have to decide whether or not you go home with your real parents or the people who brought you here." And I'm like, "Well, wait, what? No, the people who brought me here are my parents. What are you talking about?" And he said, no. You see, the people on the opposite side of the room, they're your real parents. And what a shock. I'm like, no. They're just here for the pizza and the ginger. That's what they're here for. Mom and Dad, who brought us here, is Mom and Dad. We never knew what the outcome was. He just wanted to know how we felt, And of course, I said, "Mom and Dad, the one who brought us here," and my brother thought it was a field trip. "Hey, let's go to Brooklyn." No, let's stay right here. Well, we don't know what happened. We didn't know what happened. I remember, though, that after maybe weeks after, the people, my biological parents, showed up at the house. They showed up at the house. And I'm like, "What are they doing here?" And Dad said, I'm here to show them everything I can offer you boys. I really we want to call you our own. But in order for that to happen, they have to forfeit their rights. So I invited them to the house to show them your room, to tell them how much we love you, and to tell them we could give you the best education. And yeah, they showed them the house, the room, everything. Still, we don't know what was made of it until one morning, my mom is crying. And she hasn't stopped crying. But she's not telling us why she's crying. And Dad's crying. I'm like, "Why are we crying?" Like I am now. "Why are we crying?" They're not saying a word. The doorbell rings. And again, as a child, I'm going to tell you how I saw it. There was a black man and a white lady. And they were there for us. They were there to take us to Brooklyn. I guess we now know what the judge decided to do. We were holding on to kids, and kids, you know how your kids get around your neck and they just hold it like that sometimes, hugging you? You're like, "Oh, stop, you're hugging." Oh man, we are gripped. And they had to pull us off. Dad put the phone number to the house in our jackets. And we took a long drive, a white car, red leather interior. We took a long drive, crying all the way. Get to Brooklyn. We see the people with ginger ale, piece of Jim, our biological parents. Didn't know we had brothers and sisters till that day. What do you do? We would call Long Island so I could to keep them separate. We would call Long Island and come get us. When are you coming to get us? We've been here long enough. When are we coming home? When are you coming to take us home? Mom said that they had to stop taking our calls because it was just hurting them too much. And then we got a little bit older where we can take the train, the Amtrak. All we had to do was save money to buy the ticket. And we knew that if we got on one train, it would take us all the way to the final stop, Jefferson, Port Jefferson, and then they would pick us up from there. So that was easy. And man, whenever we had enough money to get that ticket to that train, we were on that train. We were there. Never understood why. Why were we in a foster home? And we were about 11 years old. We went to our biological mom and we wanted to know, why were we placed in a foster home for so long? And so she said, well, Nene, I had a big headache. I had a massive headache. It wouldn't go away. I had your brother Eddie, your sister Marisol. I was pregnant with your sister Lisette. And the doctor said it's stress, that it could go away or it could relieve a little bit if you give up 2 of your kids. So I just thought, since you were twins, I'll give you both up. And when you're at that age and you ask your parents a serious question, you believe it. You believe it. Why would they lie, right? And we ate that up. Oh, okay. It didn't make sense, but okay. Until I went to a cousin's house, and those big family albums they had on I'm flipping through it, and it was cute. There was a picture of 2 babies dressed in white. And I said to my aunt, well, who are the babies? Oh, that's you and your brother. Why are we dressed in white? Oh, you guys are going to be baptized in the Catholic Church. Oh, that's cool. Oh, cool. So which one is me? And she pointed, and I said, oh, interesting. Why am I wearing a long white sock on one leg and a short white sock on the other leg? I hear a little ringing, do you? Yeah, can you fix that? I hear a little feedback. Long sock, short sock. And she said, Nene, that's not a sock. You don't know? No, tell me. That's how you got into the foster home. I'm sorry? Say that again? That's a cast. No, that's not right. That's not right. Because mommy said she had a headache and she had to give up 2, so she gave me and David up. How old am I? She said, oh, you're about 2 years old. Wait a minute, why am I wearing a cast at 2 years old? And she said, well, remember those cribs that used to go up like this and they just snap into place? Now they revised them, right? Well, my leg was through the slat on the bottom one. So when I was crying and I wouldn't stop crying, my mom just went, and she just pulled it up and it snapped. Now, mind you, but before that, she was already abusive. They just couldn't catch it. My cousin would tell me, oh, that was just a cherry on the cake. She was hitting you for no reason. When you wouldn't stop crying, she wouldn't feed you, she wouldn't bathe you, all this other stuff. But that did it. That did it. That did it. And so I asked for that picture. I said, can I take it home? And she said, yeah, go ahead, it's yours. I went home and I said, hey, can I ask you again how we wind up in a foster home? And she said, Nene, I already told you. No, just, I need to get it right in case somebody asks me, right? So please, tell me again. And she did. She stood to her story. Headache, 2 kids. So when I pulled out the picture and let her see it, her whole look was different. She knew that I knew. And I had so much anger that on that time, I just took the picture and I said, you know what? From this day on, I'm going to make your life a living hell. You have no idea what's coming your way now. In Long Island, I was raised to tell the truth and to respect. In Brooklyn, no matter what I did, it didn't matter. So she lost all respect with me. And man, did I lay into her. Every chance I got, I really did. It's right around that time, I was still going to Sunday school. Because, you know, we got to go to church. So Sunday school was my church. But I wasn't giving Jesus my all. I just gave him that minute or that time. So from 11 to about 17 years old, I was the worst of the worst of her kids. She has 5. I was the worst of the worst. I sent my dad to the hospital. I was a leader of the gang by the age of 12. I sent my dad to the hospital because he decided to play father when I was 15 years old. Oh, now you want to play dad? Hold up. I try to give them a way out. I'm like, like I said, tell me again. Like, tell me the truth again. Or I told my dad, okay, hold up. I'll be right back. Remember those boom boxes back in the 80s? The size D batteries? I stuffed my pockets with them. And I came back and I said, okay, you want to hit me? I'm just going to let you know right now. If you swing that belt and hit me, it's going to hurt you more than me. And he hit me, and I just took those batteries and boom, 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 boom. Sent him to the hospital. Sent him to the hospital. My little sister was crying so much, And this is what I told my little sister. I said, I promise, if he lives through it, because he's going off in the ambulance. If he lives through it, he comes back, I won't touch him. But I can't say that about mommy. Just saying, I won't touch dad, but mommy's still on my radar. All because of what she did. All because I just had rage, bitterness. But I still went to church. You see where I'm going with this? I still went to church. I'm a teenager now. I'm like about 16 years old. And get a little tired of doing the same thing. Being the same way. There's got to be more to this life than what this is. I remember Christmas time, my brothers, my siblings would give out, decorate Christmas cards. And I titled this the Christmas card of forgiveness because my Christmas card to my parents will always say the same thing every year. I'm sorry, I haven't been the son you wanted me to be. I will be better next year. And it never panned out. It just, that anger just never let, thank God for people that God calls into the ministry and into your lives, into our lives. We don't know it. We just, we get to know them, but they're God ordained. They're there for a reason. And Bill Wilson was in Brooklyn for a reason. And I was one of those reasons. Sunday, I was what I call a Sunday saint and a Monday ain't kind of guy, man. That's just who I was. I went to church because it was just what we do on Sundays. We go to church. I heard the messages. Hey, have you ever sat? Well, you're sitting now, right? But have you been to a service and you're sitting there going, who told the preacher about me? Yeah. Man, I sat in many services like that. I'm like, who told him my stuff? I was 16 years old when I decided to come out of the gang. And by the way, if you ever saw the movie The Warriors, you know the beginning, how that opens up? That's real. That was real. They didn't make that up. You know what I mean? There was one above all. So we had those kind of meetings, and I went to one of them, and I said, look, I'm out, guys. I'm done. And now I'm going to share with you why I said that. Said that to him. Because, like I said, I kept going to church. The preacher was talking about forgiveness. And on your half sheet, I wrote a bunch of different scriptures and quotes and my thoughts on these scriptures that I think would help if we're struggling with forgiveness of any kind, of every kind. But the one that did it for me, was the last one. Matthew 6:14-15. You could put that up, Scott. It says, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. Man, was I, what? Serious? Like, I really got to do this? Yeah. So, I went home that evening. And I said, Mommy, can I talk to you? And like always, her response was always the same. I'm busy. I said, okay, that's fine. I just want you to listen. I went to church tonight, and I need you to listen to what I'm about to say, because I'm only going to say it once. I hate you with everything I have in me. Every fiber for what you did. You should have just told me the truth. But I went to church tonight, and I really need God to forgive me of my sins. But in order for him to do that, I have to forgive you of yours. And so I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And I don't hold it against you anymore. I don't know about you, but if you ever truly forgiven someone, there's going to be a relief. You just feel it. I went to in that household, we had a big bedroom for all three of us boys, and then one room for just the two girls. And I went into their room because they weren't there, and I was a tough kid, so I couldn't show that I was crying. But man, I was crying because it felt so good to be free. Free. Forgiveness is freedom. Freedom from the hurt that you have felt for so long. And my older brother started banging on the door, so I'm wiping my eyes real quick. He said, Danny, are you in there? And I'm like, yeah. He said, what did you do to Mommy this time? I said, I didn't do anything. All I did was talk. He said, no. She's in the kitchen crying. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. She heard. And she knew that I meant it. But that verse, this verse, it is, like I said in my bulletin, it is harsh. These are harsh words. But they're Jesus' words. To those who think or call themselves disciples. Now, how can we do that if we do not have a heart of forgiveness? You know, so my Christmas cards, now I know I could write it and it meant something. My foster home, when I was able to drive, we've always gone, like I said, we've always gone back Thanksgiving, whenever we can, but we've never been home on Christmas. And my dad was a officer at the time, a detective, and he had just completed the night shift Christmas Eve, and we planned it. We called Mom and we planned it. We made sure he was home. We got there and went up, and he was just finished getting dressed. He was about to come downstairs, and we're opening his room door, and he looks up. He said, "My boys have come home. I'm not leaving the room." Forgiveness is not easy. I don't know the pain that you have been through. I don't know your story. But I know one who does. And I know one who wants to comfort you. Pastor Ron, if you will. He wants to lead you to a world of peace, true peace.